Cast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
All right, it's Coffee Ann here on ONAM and FM. Thanks for joining us this morning. My name is Joe Callahan. With us, Melissa Smith from the St. Antoine Communities. Hi, Melissa.
Good morning.
Tim
Hi,
Draper
Melissa.
from Navigant Credit Union. Hi, Tim.
Howdy, Joe.
It is Teal. Dave Richards is here, and we're going to get to Dave in just a moment. But, Melissa, it's time for our first message from the St. Antoine Communities.
I know. I was commenting when I came in before I get my message that we are all in vibrant colors.
Yes, that's right.
Normally, I'm very black and white with my color selection, but everyone has on some bright.
You are definitely
brightness.
not a gray area person.
Is this our goodbye to summer? I feel like
No,
like
not
all
yet.
the
No.
into turtlenecks and
No.
sweaters. No,
Oh,
okay.
gosh, no.
Anyways, all right. So obviously, I'm here from St. Antoine Community, and just reminding you to spread the word. We have a brand new memory care assisted living unit that has officially been open now for a month, Primrose Lane, and exciting times. I mean, definitely have an opportunity to come by and take a tour. I've opened up my schedule and availability that every Tuesday through Friday from 1 to 3. I'm in my office. So pop by. My brand new office is located at Primrose Lane, actually. So 10 Rhodes Avenue, if you're curious and want to take a peek, or you're gathering information for a friend that might be right now struggling through a hard time providing care for someone with memory impairment, cognitive disorder of some sort, check it out. Get a little bit understanding of what's involved in the admissions process as well as the rates. And I can kind of see, when the time is right for you. So reach out to me at 401-767-3500.
Thanks, Melissa. Now, we asked Dave to pop in because he's going to make a small, serious announcement.
Well,
at the
yeah,
moment.
and it's one of those things that I didn't want to spoil the mood for our panelists this morning because you're always so jocular and friendly and full of everything. But life will do this to you sometimes, where something really rotten happens and you have to address it. I just got the news this morning. I guess it's been out on social media for a few hours, but I just, I'm totally oblivious to most of the social media until it gets into mainstream. And so I found out this morning that two dear friends of ours, Bob and Nancy Phillips, lost their son, Tim. Was it yesterday, Joe?
Yesterday, yes.
Yesterday. Unexpectedly. Young man, early 40s, if I recall. I said to myself, well, Bob and Nancy have been very, very close. Some people you're close to and you don't know why. It's just, you get along so well together. You share a lot of life's moments. You volunteer for the same causes. They're with us on Milk Fund every year. Nancy's on the board. Bob is out running around getting things for the auction. It's hardly an event, including Autumn Fest, and you're dressed for Autumn Fest today, Joe. Just had a big Autumn Fest meeting last night at the park. There's hardly an event that Bob and Nancy wouldn't or haven't donated their time and their talents to. And to see them go through this, one of their two twin boys to pass away suddenly, is just really very difficult. And I felt that it rose to the level that I should come on the air, make the announcement for those who hadn't heard, and offer our heartbroken condolences to Nancy and Bob. And that's really all I can say right now, except that we've heard that services won't be for a couple of weeks. They'll be on Sunday the 15th. I understand there's international travel involved for some of the family, so that may be the reason why they're holding it off. I haven't spoken to them. I just got the word from Joe from social media, but now everybody knows, and just wanted to offer my best and a special tear for our dear friends. And now I'll leave the room and everyone can be happy and stuff like that, but I didn't want you guys burdened with all of that.
Thanks, Dave. It was their son, Tim. That passed away.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
All right. Unfortunately, the next thing to bring up is not a happy go lucky kind of story. It happened overnight. I saw it on the news. There was a large police presence in Cranston.
Yeah. What happened there?
Well, it turns out a man fired 2 shots at police while he was down there. So they had to evacuate the area and like that and secure the whole thing.
Yep.
And when he shot at the police, he didn't hit anybody, but he did hit the house across the street. Police did enter the home shortly after midnight, and they found the man inside who was dead by suicide.
Ugh.
So it's a pretty tough situation down there in Cranston. The Cranston police do say the suspect had been diagnosed with terminal cancer and his health was deteriorating. So no word on what his mental health capacity was at the time. So that's what was going. That's what's happening
It
in
was
Cranston.
strained,
So,
to say the least. His
Yeah.
mental health capacity.
sure. So
If he's going to
So-
do it that way.
anyway, that's so we get. Let's see if we can get more.
There's some good news.
Can only
Joe.
go up from here.
Well, you would
Go
think
up
so.
from
You
here.
can
but I was
only
gonna
go
just
up from
say,
here.
Unfortunately, the state beaches are closed.
Well,
Labor Day's over.
I know.
So
That's
like,
all right.
All right.
One more drive down to the beach tonight. Is that what
I think
the
that's what we're
attire
gonna get.
is?
Yep, little Jimmy Buffett music.
I know. I've commented that Tim looks like he's ready to jump into like a convertible Jeep Wrangler, head down to the beach. He's
Yeah.
just got the beach vibe
And
today.
in case
I
it
would
gets
love a Jeep
cool,
Wrangler.
in case it
That's
gets cool, you
one
got
of
the
my
hoodie.
It's true.
So you're all set there.
You think you want them, but everyone around me has them, and I got to tell you, no one I know is really loving their Wranglers these
No?
days. They're
Okay.
very stiff in the seats, and maybe it's the age. All of us middle-aged people are getting them.
Keep a
I
straight
really
face
wanted
with
one
the
back
hoodie
in my 20s, but now that I'm in my late 40s, it feels like I've sat in them, and they're not comfortable for a ride to the beach. An hour ride in a Jeep Wrangler is not what you
up.
think.
Yeah.
So
No, I know.
You know?
When I was a kid, my Uncle Fred had a Jeep CJ5. It was a small Jeep. It was kind of like the next evolution of coming out of the Army,
Mm-hmm.
and they were making them commercially. With the soft top, and we would put the top down, take the doors off, and just drive around in the Jeep. It was so
carefree,
much
carefree.
fun.
That's
So much fun.
That's
those are
the
the good
time
old
to
days.
have it.
Right, those are the good old
now
days.
we need the geriatric back support
know.
and the seat
I
warmers.
have no
and-
hair to flow around in the Jeep
I know.
anymore. I got to wear a hat because it's cold on my scalp.
It's so fun. We just
Or you might get sunburn on the
I
scalp.
might get sunburned on his scalp.
we just
And
spent
that is the worst, by the way.
the weekend
yeah.
test driving cars, and I have to say there's some new movement happening with new cars and
that's
their
right, you're test
seats.
driving.
They
Yeah, yeah.
are not all that comfortable. They're
Really?
very
They're racing seats. They
they're-
come up on the.
they
on
come up
s-
around the
and
side
they
of your
wrap around
thighs.
you.
Surround
And
you.
if you
Yeah.
are someone like me who's a little taller
Yeah.
and a little wider,
Yeah.
it's very pinching. It's
Is
not
it?
very
Can be.
comfortable that I ended up not going with a 2025 model
Yeah.
of a car and
Yeah.
went instead with a used 22,
Because
23
the seat was better.
because the seat was better, which sounds
Wow.
ridiculous and again could
No,
be a
it's-
reflection of my age, but and even the dealerships that we talked to said the same thing. They're like, "Oh, no one's loving this."
Yeah.
Really?
And they're turning
Okay.
down these brand new cars because of these seats.
I wonder if they feel like there's some
Wow.
sort of safety assist in that. Like you're not sliding back and forth if you get into an accident.
You definitely feel so. I had a rental for a couple weeks, the Toyota RAV, brand new 2024, and I thought the seat was very comfortable. It definitely does. It does hold you in like more of an alert position. You've
Yeah.
got that, and then you have the fact that these new cars have the safety feature where if you start to stray over a line
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
road,
It beeps.
it pulls you back.
Okay.
So there's, I think, maybe some science to that. Maybe that they're adding these features to make you more focused and not so comfortable and relaxed.
My wife's car has those sports seats like that. And
Yeah.
I get in them, and I will tell you, on a long trip, I'm like, oh, this is kind of uncomfortable. I can't put my phone in my pocket. Gotta take the phone
Exactly.
out. And but my truck has a little bit of it, but it's not that dramatic. So the seats are much bigger.
Yeah.
And I had it fixed from a little bit of an accident that it was in, and got it back, and they had like armor all everything on the inside. So as I turn a corner, I'm sliding
Sliding.
on the seats, sliding back and forth. I'm like, oh boy.
No, that's so true. That's what we found this weekend too. I'm like, God, all these wheels feel really slippery. I
slippery.
can't hold on to them really well. It's because
It's
my
nice
car
and
was
clean.
like so broken in and sticky from my kids' culottes and whatever else there. I need a little grime in a new
Yeah. Oh,
vehicle,
that's
so I
funny.
had to go use. No,
They go used.
I did see people making jokes on Facebook like this, but saying bring back the bench seats for the
Right, for the
in
front
in the
seat.
front seat.
Right. You can put 3 people in the front seat.
That's right. It was comfy.
It was.
yeah.
My mother's Dodge Coronet station wagon with the bench seat in the front.
Oh,
We had my father had the Ford Grand Torino
Ooh.
station wagon.
You guys had money.
in emerald green.
Oh, there we go.
And I don't know why I
Like
know
the
this.
Wagon Queen family truckster.
It was something like that. Bought it down at, remember Notre Antonio?
Yeah.
The car dealership.
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
No, I'm just nodding.
They were in North Providence.
Yep.
Right on Mineral Spring and Route 7.
Okay.
They're not there anymore. I think it's a Walgreens.
Lowe's. It's Lowe's
Is it a
now. I
Lowe's?
think it's a
Okay.
Lowe's.
But it's a Notre Antonio corner.
Yeah.
They put their name still there.
Yep.
All right. And good news. Community College of Rhode Island received an anonymous $2 million gift.
It's great.
Here you go.
It can to do with whatever they want to do with it.
Well, no, there's always a proviso.
Right.
The funds, it is a 3-year pilot program to improve student success by providing personalized tutoring in English and math.
Okay.
New students coming in to CCRI,
Yeah.
if they're not doing up to snuff college work,
Yeah.
we got tutors, paid tutors that'll help
Help you
you do better. So
I'll tell you. I think.
it can be used, and the interim president very happy to get the money.
Yeah, I think. When my kids were in school, they called MASH was the name of it was like an assist, a math assist program. This was an engineering school, so they needed, some kids just needed the help with some of the
Yep.
complex problems and stuff. But I remember they used it a lot, and
Yeah.
these kids were pretty independent. They didn't like to admit that they didn't know anything. So for them to use the tutoring services, which were fantastic, and help them out dramatically. But I think the stigma of having to go get a tutor
Yep.
is really kind of fallen off, and now it's kind of like, hey, I could use a little help with that problem. And it's
Right.
great for kids who
It's more integrated in the school system
Right.
versus that after-school tutor
Right.
assist type level.
right, and the kids and the kids who are able to tutor are getting something out of it too,
100%.
because they're able to help out and sometimes get paid.
Is it better for the student to go to another student to be tutored rather than go to an adult? Do you think? Do they learn better?
It depends. You know what?
Depends
It's
on the
funny.
subject,
Are they going to talk and are they going to gossip?
was
and
just
are they
gonna say, it
or are they
depends
actually
if-
get work done? I think
Yeah.
I don't know.
kids relate to kids better sometimes, I think, than parents would relate to kids. Being taught by an adult sometimes on a one-on-one basis is almost, to me anyway, would feel like I'm sitting here with my mom or my aunt or whatever, and they're telling me what to do. And it's an interesting phenomenon because we did have this discussion about the senior safeguard programs we're running. Got another one coming up in North Providence this month. But one of the things that we learned is that the seasoned citizens that are in the room, the older
Yeah.
folks, don't want to be told about cybersecurity and fraud and all these other bad things that happen by people in college or just out of college or the young folks. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but they don't necessarily relate to people who are all dramatically younger than they are. They prefer to have the conversation with people who are their age or their contemporaries who potentially have been in the same situations and have had the same, the emotionally charged situation that they find themselves in. A young person might go, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas an adult their age is going to go, yeah, man, that happened to me too. But
Yeah,
you know what?
that's
The
how
best
we
thing I ever
get
did
around
was
it.
go to the police or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So
You actually make a really good point because I hear often in my line of work, which is
Right.
what you're talking about, is that population, but also with my aging parents, you wouldn't understand. Like, you don't know what this feels like. And I think there's definitely a lot of times I talk about intergenerational programming and pairing up those youngins with the old folks and how awesome that is. And it can be in some ways, but I think with some of these like vulnerable topics, it's not as relatable, and they kind of just hold a little bit more of like animosity in that conversation than maybe hearing it from a peer or someone who's of that age
Right.
group.
Now, I don't know about you, Melissa. I know Joe probably went through this, but my parents, we didn't talk money in the house. That was none
no.
of
Oh,
my
You're
business.
so hitting it.
I
You're
didn't know
so
what my
hitting the
parents
marker.
made.
Yeah.
I didn't know where their money was.
I never saw them pay a bill.
Right.
I, don't know how they
didn't
did
know
it.
anything.
Yeah.
It was none of my business.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas nowadays, these kids are like their lives are on Venmo, who I paid and how much I paid them and what I paid them for.
Yeah.
Whereas the parents are just like, no, that's not it. So it's been an interesting, to have my mom now, where I'm trying to help her with her finances, right?
Wanting to show you her finances.
It was my father absolutely no way
Yeah.
it was
When he was alive, there was no way I was going to look at their finances. That was not
Right.
and I was an adult at that point, working in a financial institution.
It didn't matter.
If I really wanted to know, I could find out,
Right.
but I didn't. But it's just interesting. It's just that relatability of you can talk to me about this subject,
Yeah.
but you need to walk in my shoes first before you can tell me what to do.
It's
see.
this has been a regular conversation in our house. So it's just funny. I'm going to spin this in a similar direction. Kids today can learn so much online, right, and from their friends or whatever. And I feel like parents today are sharing more to make sure that they're hearing things from us and not from other households or whatever. So the topic of income, the topic of budget, finance, the topic of college loans, the topic of I need to replace your tires. You're going to help pay for half. Well, what does that look like? What does that cost? Oh my God, are you serious, Mom? Like all of these conversations we're very transparent about. I grew up in a house like you were describing where my dad told me nothing. I didn't know how much he made. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. I knew there was a once a month glass of wine at the dinner table and I heard them whispering. And there was a checkbook and a stack of envelopes. And you knew that was like bill paying month.
Yep.
And the wine did something to ease it. But there was never transparency. And I feel like there's a responsibility that we have today with our youth to really educate them so that when they go to college and they come out of college, they have some idea. They're not walloped with
Right.
like life. And I know that my dad was always great listening to my stressors when I graduated. Okay, Dad, here's what my income is, or should I take this job? I don't know if that's helping me put together a budget at that point, but you're already 21, 22.
Right.
I think kids today, like I have, I've mentioned on the air, 2 teenagers, sharing and being transparent even about what financial stressors you have. We just bought a car. Like we shared, what does that look like? What is it? What are we financing it for? What are we, because I want these kids to have some understanding too. We don't give them everything on a silver platter,
Right.
like a lot of their friends have. We want them to know the wealth of things and the
Right.
worth of things or the stressors behind it. Because when you go to your kid and say, your car needs new tires, you want to know, what do you
Get
need
out
to
your
make in order to
$600.
afford that? Exactly. So when they have a part-time job and they're making $15 an hour, how many hours do you need to work and put aside, and how many coffees can you not order?
Right.
But it goes back to, by the time you're a senior, I don't want to be that elder. Like I meet with so many families that they sit there and say, I know my mom's 90, but she still won't show me her. I really don't know.
know.
You're going to have to meet with her. Or dementia has settled in and it's too late to
Ask the questions.
have a discussion
Yeah.
about, putting money in their kids' names, protecting money in their kids' names. And now all of it is, unfortunately going to be leaned upon when they need help. And it's unfortunate. So transparency is how we're going to wrap
Yeah.
this up. Talk to your
Yes.
kids, share what your resources are. There's definitely an advantage to it. Don't be so proud.
Closed
Don't be
off,
so
yeah.
proud.
Old school.
Right.
Proud.
Yes.
That's a good term.
All right,
Yes.
there is, and before we get to Melissa with another message from St. Antoine Communities, just another joke that's making the rounds on the social media, and it's a young person, 20, 21, paying for his own food, and I suddenly realized, yeah, there is food. Mom was right. There is food at home. Why am I always eating out?
True. We have stocked
funny.
our fridge. Like I can't even. You have kids.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to people
Empty
that
nest.
don't understand. But the whole that you can order your coffee app thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's right.
how
So
easy
the
is that?
mobile
Yeah.
order thing. I don't even on purpose don't have that option on my phone because I know what that will do to me.
Mm-hmm.
All these teens have it. So my daughter often does it, and it's like free. She thinks it's free.
Free, right.
It's not free money.
Well, it's not.
It's
gotta
not free
come from
money.
somewhere.
It's synced in, right? But my youngest took a ride from my daughter's friend yesterday home from school because my oldest had practice, so she couldn't bring my youngest home. So she jumped in the car with her friend, and they went to go to Starbucks. And he thought nothing of put the order in, pick it up, whatever. Wouldn't let my youngest pay, which was very sweet. But she looks in the back seat of his car, and it's like a graveyard of cups
Starbucks.
and receipts or whatever. And so she came, and I made a lesson out of it because she was like, "Ma, you'd never believe what he, how much stuff he
Yeah.
buys." And he goes after school every day. And I'm thinking to myself, 1, calories, and 2,
Money.
right? So I said, "How much did your coffees cost at Starbucks that he picked up?" Well, mine was 5 something, and his was whatever. And I'm like, "Okay, so it's $10 a day,
Right.
every day after school,
30 days a month.
Yeah.
And there's a graveyard in his backseat of evidence. And I just thought, like,
Graveyard
it's,
of coffee cup
it's
evidence.
insane. It's insane. These kids think nothing of that.
I know.
All right, let's take a break here on the Coffee and program. So, Melissa, time for your second message from the St. Antoine Communities,
Yeah,
please.
I'll make it sweet because I feel like we're spending more time than we probably should talking about
Good topics.
I know, exactly. Education for our seniors listening out there. So you heard me mention that we're offering Tuesday through Friday tours from 1 to 3 every day of Primrose Lane. But we also have on our calendar September 28th from 10 to noon. We're opening up the campus. Open house if you are just curious what assisted living looks like, what our rehab facility looks like, what Primrose Lane looks like. We're opening up the campus. There's going to be staffers, like myself included, available at every front door entrance, welcoming you, offering you a little sneak peek into the services that we provide at St. Antoine Community, you know, our full continuum of care that I talk about often on the air. But it's a chance just to come in and get familiar with what that looks like, whether you're an adult child and you're seeing your parents getting a little bit older, or if you have a spouse maybe that's been a little more frail and you're nervous, winter months are coming up and you want to just understand what the placement process looks like or scheduling a rehab experience, come to the open house the 28th of this month from 10 to 12. I'll be putting some information on social media this week about it. But there's no sign up, there's no obligation, just show up. And if you're not free, you're not free. Then call me for a private tour. But either way, wanted you to know we're doing an open house the 28th, 10 to 12. Hope to see you there.
All right, Melissa, thanks. More Coffee Hands coming up, and we have a message to get to. You can call in yours at 766-1240.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger. Something better, like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All that coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
ON Radio.
It is Coffee and here on ONAM and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Melissa Smith and Tim Draper. Note to get to 766-1240 on a completely different topic, just about the Boston Red Sox. You know, throughout the years, you love them through thick and thin, win or lose. They're our team till I die, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But not happy when they're mismanaged. Takes away the integrity and dignity of the team, of the game, of the players. Takes away from all of the above. Never forget, the only language owners can talk about is money.
Right. I would say I can't wait till they sell that team to somebody
John
who
Henry's
cares.
got absolutely no interest in selling.
Right, because it makes money.
And it does, and people
doesn't
people
pay
will
players a lot of money,
That's right.
and that caller is exactly the reason why he will never sell, because we love the team until we die, and we'll continue to go to games. I'm not going to another Red Sox game at this point in time until they start spending a little money on the team.
All right, and John Henry has come out and said people will come to Fenway not to see the Red Sox
To see Fenway.
win or lose. They're coming for the Fenway experience. I'm like, what?
No, I don't want to go to the Fenway experience. It costs me $50 to park or more,
Yeah, oh yeah.
depending on how close I want to be, right? And the tickets are outrageous.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see a product that is a losing product. Why do I
Yeah.
want to go to that?
I don't know. And unless they're counting on people from outside New England that are vacationing and that have never been there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let's shell out the $500 and we'll go to a
My
game.
wife-
just to say we went to Fenway Park.
My wife gets so mad at me because I try to watch the Red Sox and I do nothing but complain about them when I watch them on TV. And she goes, yeah, I'm just Mr. Negative when it comes to Red Sox. I'm like, tell me why I should be positive. I don't understand why I should be positive. She
Good
goes, "'Cause
napping
it's the Red
conditions.
Sox."
I say that all the time watching baseball, golf. Good napping commission.
Look at last night's game.
It was awful. I watched the first 3 innings. I'm like, okay, we're going to maybe have a game here. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm going to bed.
Here's your basic inning, Melissa. First guy up for the Red Sox, and it doesn't matter who it is, strikes out. Second guy gets up, either walks or gets a single. Oh, okay,
Yep.
here we go. Third guy up, bounces into a double play. Inning's over.
Innings over. Exactly.
Great.
They have no hitting.
I
Their
don't know what's
pitching is
happened.
so suspect.
Maybe they
Yeah.
need
No
to start
bullpen.
doing like I really enjoy watching
Do a little yoga?
college softball,
I
girls
love
softball.
girls
Okay.
softball. It
Right.
is great.
So maybe they need to channel the energy that goes into those games from those girls. The
It's-
screaming, the chanting, the all of it, right? I even think about my daughter just joined volleyball. It's a sport I've never really watched before, but holy cow, is that the
it's
most
exciting.
positive,
Yeah.
exciting
Yeah.
sport because there's so much. You could bomb a serve,
And they all get together.
and they're all like, "It's okay,
They're all
it's
big
all right.
hugs,
You
okay,
got
we
this.
come back,
Moving
we'll do it
on,
again."
right?"
yeah.
There's no energy in baseball. They're
No,
just they're
there's
sitting there
not.
chomping
And
on their
you know what, the
sunflower
owners-
seeds, spitting tobacco, whatever
The
they're
owners
doing.
of all of the owners collectively are the reason that baseball's failing miserably. I mean, they make these ridiculous $500 million
Oh, it's
contracts for
gross. Yeah.
one player,
Yeah.
which forces everybody else to go, hey, how come I can't get my share of that? They get all that money. I want some
I
of
can
that.
get some.
Well,
And the
we
next
can-
thing you know, they're spending all this money in teams, except the Red Sox, who refuse to spend that money on the team. So now all the good players are going after the money on the good teams, the Dodgers,
away from us, and then San
away from
Diego,
us, San Diego, the Yankees. They want all. They're paying up. We're paying down, and nobody good is going to come here if we're paying down. And so
No.
therefore, we put on the field a crappy product.
There is energy. You just can't hear it through the TV. When players get hits, they look to that dugout and everyone's all happy for them. But it's not.
Yeah, but
quite
that's
the
it.
same.
Only when you do something good.
Well, yeah.
So I feel like
yeah.
if you have a pitcher that's like throwing ball after ball, like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
not doing their job well, there needs to be a little more. Come
Yeah,
on,
but
you got this.
well,
You
you're
know?
right. I mean, you can't
I'm
get
not trying to
together on
girl
the
it
mound
up.
as
It
much as
shouldn't
I'd
just
like
be
to.
girls, boys, but I feel like in a lot of boys sports, there's not as much of that. Like,
Pumping,
enthusiasm
bumping up,
and-
yeah. Okay.
yeah, need a little more. If you're gonna pay them that much,
I know.
Get a
Listen,
little
something
I
more
love.
out of them.
I'm a diehard Red Sox fan. I'll be a diehard Red Sox fan till I'm in the ground, as that caller
Yeah.
said. But I am just so frustrated at this point in time.
What's going on?
I want John Henry to get rid of that team because he is the problem,
And he just won't.
and he won't get rid of it
He's
because
gonna-
Fenway Sports is not going to get rid of the team.
No.
And if he buys the Celtics, I'm going to really put my
That's-
head through the wall.
That's no. He's come out and said, "All right, I'm not interested now."
Good.
Whatever. So that's.
You
done.
want a guy like Paul Allen, who was the
Yeah.
ex-Microsoft
Yeah.
number 2 guy, to buy the team because for him it's a hobby. He's got more money than he knows what to do with,
Yeah.
and he's looking. Somebody like that is about. It's like Mark Cuban. I'm just going to throw a bunch of money at it, and I want to win championships.
win.
That's what I
I
want
wanna
to do. I
win
want to win.
Not just have people come for the Fenway
Right, not to the
experience.
experience. Really.
All right, up in keeping it in Massachusetts, it was primary day in Massachusetts yesterday for me, so I got to go vote yesterday.
Good for
and
you.
attorney and U.S. Marine veteran John Deaton has won the Republican primary for U.S. Senate. He now has really the uphill battle.
Oh yeah, he's not going to win.
He's going against Elizabeth Warren for the Senate, and she's the two-term incumbent, Elizabeth Warren, in the general election in November. This man is not from New England. He's originally from Detroit, and now lives in Massachusetts. He's an attorney and a former U.S. Marine, so he's got his work cut out for him to get out and get people to let him know. Now there were 3 people running in the Republican primary yesterday.
I know. I was
In
stunned.
Massachusetts, I only got one thing in the mail, and it was from him.
Right.
And I saw no TV ads for
It's-
any of them.
it's 'cause
I
it's all-
heard no radio
it's all-
ads
it's all
from
about
any
money.
of them.
It's all about money.
I'm like, and Elizabeth was running
This is
unopposed,
gonna-
so
this is
she
gonna sound
didn't
really
have
bad,
to,
but-
she didn't do anything. So
Republicans are busy keeping their money and not giving it to politicians, and Democrats are busy giving it to politicians, which is
and I think the Republicans look at Mass and Rhode Island. It's a lost cause.
it's a lost cause. And
It-
it,
we
it
just,
really
we
it is.
know the Democrats are going to win both those states, so we don't throw money at it at all because it's just it's a waste of money. So
Yep.
we don't need to do that.
We don't need to spend any money
So-
there. Let's save it and do it in the swing
Oh,
states.
that's right. It goes to Pennsylvania and Ohio and
California,
Georgia,
yep,
and that's
yep,
where it goes.
yep.
So okay, but maybe now that he's won the seat, won the.
if he had name recognition,
well,
and
none
had,
of them had
and
name
had,
recognition. Who are the other 2 running? Do you know?
that's what I'm saying. If he had name recognition, the Republican Party might give him a
Yeah.
little bit of money and say, well, okay, maybe he can do some damage
Okay.
along the way. But they're not going to do that on somebody who has 0 name recognition, not from the state.
Yeah. So
And he's got a good background, solid.
yeah.
You know, that's fine, but that's not going to win you an election when you've got a machine out there that Elizabeth Warren has where they're
Oh, I know.
harvesting ballots and
Yep. So and just being in Massachusetts and watching Massachusetts TV, I'm already sick of the New Hampshire governor race
Oh,
because there's constant ads.
Sununu's not running, right? So
It's Ayotte and somebody else.
but it's a whole new, like, there's going to be
Yeah.
a new governor of New Hampshire.
Yes, yeah. I think Ayotte's a Democrat.
Yep.
It's an older gentleman. I can picture him, but
Yeah.
I cannot remember his name. But she's the one with the money,
Yeah.
throwing it out there, and so running ads on Boston TV. So I said this doesn't affect me. Anyway, all right, it's time for a look at the forecast right now, and the forecast being brought to you by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation.
Sunny skies and 78 degrees with light and variable wind. Tonight, clear. Overnight low of 47, a breeze from the south. Thursday's weather, sunshine and 78. Friday, sunshine and 73. Saturday, sunshine and 75. Sunday, a few more clouds, but partly sunny skies and a high of 73. Monday, sunshine and 73. And next Tuesday, sunshine and 73 degrees.
Outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with sunny skies, we have 62 degrees. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
They say in business you don't last very long if you don't know what you're doing. And if that's the case, we must know a thing or two at the Carew Investment Group because we've been in the business since 1987, helping people just like you with their investments. At the Carew Investment Group, we employ a conservative approach to client portfolios by using only the best quality companies available, many of which pay quarterly dividends. We look for opportunities that we expect to go up in value not every day, but over time. And we take our responsibilities seriously and always place our clients first in any investment decision. If you'd like to know more or would like a free portfolio review of your current holdings, you can call Paul or Ed at 765-8880. Our office is located at 2190 Mendon Road, Suite 3 in Cumberland, Rhode Island, and we'd love to meet you and see if we can help you with your investing journey. Securities offered through Bolton Global Capital, member FINRA and SIPC, and advisory services offered through Bolton Global Asset Management, a registered investment advisor.
Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up gołąbki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Hi, this is Kevin, host of Kevin's Sports Show, every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 on WOON 99.5 FM, 1240 AM, and WoonsocketRadio.com. Follow all your New England teams and your local athletes. Call in at 766-1240 to Kevin's Sports Show every Saturday morning.
It's Coffee In on ONAM and FM. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan here with Melissa Smith and Tim Draper. And Tim, time for first message, please, from Navigant Credit Union.
Hey, Joe, kids are back to school now. I think everybody's back at this point. And how many times you're sitting there going, geez, the kid's looking for money. I got to get them money, but they're at school. They need this. They need that. Did you know that Navigant Credit Union has
They
a
need
great
coffee.
account? They need coffee. Navigant Credit Union has an account called the Embark Account, and it is designed for those students 13 to 22 years old. You open it up just like you would any other Navigant Credit Union account, but it's designed for young people, which is great. It allows your you to have control with your child over how they spend their money. So they do get a debit card, which is great. But there are card controls around the debit card. You can decide where you're where they can spend that money. You can put limits on the money. You can turn the card on or off depending on whether they've lost it or not. So there's lots of great features to the debit card part of that. But there's also a money management tool which allows them to create budgets and see where their money's going so they can understand the flow of cash in and out of their account. You can also have them sign up for Roundup, which is they spend money on a coffee, and then the difference between what they've spent and the next dollar up, can be transferred into that savings account so that they're putting a little money away. They can do mobile deposits. They get checks for their birthdays or any special occasions. They can do the check deposits right from their phone. And of course, they get parents can get mobile alerts, and the kids can get mobile alerts too if their account's getting to a certain level. The really great thing about this account is it's technically what we call a spend account. It's a checking account, but it's a spend account because there's no checks involved in it. You can we will not allow your child to overdraw their account. So there's no way that the child's going to have an overdraft fee or any of that other stuff, right? If they get to the counter and they try to buy an Xbox with $300 in their account and it's a $500 Xbox, the register person's going to go, sorry, you've been declined. And then you're going to get really embarrassed because all your friends are with you and you're going to get your new Xbox, now you don't have money in your account.
Right.
That's a valuable lesson you learn through experience. And you probably will do it once, and then that will be the end of that. So the Embark account is a great account for young people, 13 to 22 years old. Grandparents, if you're out there, you could suggest it to your kids to get that, your grandkids to get it, suggest to your kids to get it for their kids. It's a wonderful account, and you can even open it online, so it's super easy at navigantcu.org, or give us a call, 233-4700, or don't forget our friends at Park Square in Woonsocket.
I will give you a piggyback on that because my daughter has it, and obviously everyone knows I got injured a couple weeks ago, back to school time. She said, well, just give me your credit card when she was going out shopping with her friends for back to school clothes. And I was like,
Just give me your credit
yeah,
card.
no.
Yes.
Like, no, not that I can't. Obviously,
Trust
the
her.
evidence will be
Right.
there on my credit card with what damage might have been done. But I'm like, no, you have your Embark card. I'm just going to transfer money to it, put a cap on it. Here's $100.
Yeah.
That is what you're going shopping with your friends, but you have to get it was Converse sneakers.
Yeah.
So it was like, I know how much they cost, and then that gives you a little wiggle room for lunch or whatever else that you're. But it is a great tool as a
Yeah.
parent because you absolutely can just restrict what's going over to them. So we have the savings for all the birthday gifts or whatever that
Yep.
come in,
Yep.
confirmation money, whatever sits
Yep.
over here. We keep that nice and safe, but it is your spending card.
Right.
So it is pretty easy. And
Yeah.
when you get injured and you can't take your kid out, just transfer the money
Right.
to that card, and it gives it a little bit more control. It's parental control.
Right, and it's beginning to teach them those lessons in life about finances that our parents didn't teach us because it was none of our business.
Right. I got
Okay.
the sneakers, I got lunch, and I don't have any more money to get that coffee.
Right,
Yes, that's kind of how it.
that's how it works.
That's true.
Back in my retail days, and
Circuit City?
no, they were the
I
competition.
can
Leach-
so
Comp
see him
USA.
working
Comp
there,
USA,
though.
that's right.
Oh,
No, I was a Comp USA
were
guy.
you?
Yes, I was. And but credit cards would get declined. But that's all it says. It doesn't. It just says decline.
Yeah.
And then you have to tell the customer it's been declined. Then they ask me why.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure you know why. If they were being
And if you
jerks,
don't, you
if,
should.
if they were being jerks, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they weren't, it was like they don't tell us.
Yeah.
It just says declined.
Right.
I need another form of payment. Or you can walk over there and give them a call and
Right.
see if
Yeah.
they'll do anything a little different.
Right.
So,
Right. A lot of times when our cards are declined, it's usually a security type reason why it's being declined. But if we have this is important, the correct phone number on file, and most people give us their house phone. Well, when your card gets declined, you're not at your house getting declined. You're at a store.
Well, right.
Give us your cell phone number.
Yeah.
And then the contact center will call you and say, hey, your card's trying to be used at
right.
you know,
Is that okay?
Circuit City. And then you can say, oh no, I'm here. Yeah, this is me. Or you can say, no, that is not me.
Yeah.
But we've had a lot of people get mad because, like, well, you're supposed to call me. Why didn't you call me? Like, well, what number do we have on file for you?
Oh, there you go.
Well, we have your house
Yeah.
number.
All
So
right.
how are we going to call you at the store
Door.
when you gave us your house number?
So you were young enough to have a credit card swipe decline
Yes.
experience in retail. I was just I don't know why it made me think of back in the day going to like Ann and Hope with my parents on a Friday night and doing the carbon copy.
Oh yeah.
I remember those. Yeah.
How did credit cards back then? I mean, you might have been like 4 or 5 transactions
You had to settle
beyond
out.
your limit.
Yeah, you had to settle out, and you got charged fees.
I know,
Right.
but I'm just thinking. I mean, I'm sure credit card fraud back then was through the roof. You could steal
Well-
someone's card and you could.
People,
No,
Carbon
you-
swipe
credit
away.
cards were not as, I
as
don't want to
big?
say relatively new phenomenon, but they're really a relatively new phenomenon in terms of finances.
Well, it's much more of a cashless society.
Such a
right? Yeah.
cashless society. People had cash and they had checks. That's what they paid with up until 25 years ago when credit cards became big. And credit cards are now massive because of points.
Right.
Everybody, every young person I know is playing the points game with their card.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
yeah.
and so they're saying, okay, I'm going to get a. I don't want to use competitors, so I'm not going to. I'm going to get a competitor's credit card because I get travel points, and then I'm going to bank those points. I'm going to pay for everything, and then I'm going to pay it back. My kids are phenomenal for this. They will buy all their groceries, their gas, and everything, but they're going to take their money out of their savings account and they're going to pay off their credit card immediately.
Yep.
Like, so there's not
They just
even
want the
there's
points.
not even like 3 or 4 days that passes and they just pay it off, and they're collecting points, and they have traveled to like bought airline tickets, bought cruise tickets,
Yep.
using points, and so they look at it as, hey, this is a way for us to do the
investment.
things we
Yep.
want to do. And I'm really not doing anything different than what I
Yeah.
was doing before, except I'm just having to take an extra step of moving money from one place to another in order to cover the cost.
Well, Tim, ask you this because Melissa, you bring up credit card fraud. You know, back then with credit cards, you had to sign. I don't care how low the cost was.
Right.
And this is a $5 item. Sign the credit card slip.
You had to sign the credit card slip.
Now,
Right.
what is it? 25 and under.
Yep.
Here you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
Right.
yours. There you go.
So you had to sign the credit card slip, and then it took the merchant 4 to 5 days to settle out. Because when I was
Yes.
working over at Firestone in Woonsocket, way back when, we would do the credit card swipe machine and give the customer their receipt. We'd have a bunch of receipts. We'd package them all up, and then we would send them off at the end of the day. And it would take 3 or 4 days for the
Yeah.
for the transaction to settle out. So that was a big problem because people would not have enough money in their checking account when they started doing those things, and then all of a sudden they would start to overdraw.
Yep.
And the fees weren't quite as high. I think what happened is, as that happened more and more frequently, the fees crept up over time.
Right.
I'm happy to say that on the 10th of September, actually no, I'll use that as my next message.
All right. The other pain from back in
Thank
the
you.
day was sometimes we'd get they were called chargebacks.
Yeah.
People said they don't recognize the transaction on their credit card, and then it was on the store. It still is on the store to go back and find the actual purchase. And so back then it wasn't go look it up electronically. It was actually go into the storage unit we have,
Right.
find the date with the actual receipt, and go through each receipt to try to find the one you were looking for. Most of the times we found it, but sometimes you didn't. And so
Yeah.
we can't find it, and I don't know what that deal is. So they got it for whatever they got for free. So
Right.
all right, and other times when you got sometimes it didn't say declined on the machine; it would just say call us.
Right.
And sometimes call the 800 number,
Confiscate the
whatever.
card, or let us.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
Other times it was, can we speak to the customer?
Right.
Hand the phone over to the customer. They
Yep.
they yak it up for a little bit.
It's true.
Give it back to me. They said, okay, swipe it through again. It's going to go through. Okay, swipe through. Went through fine.
Yeah.
So, just different things. So anyway, back here in the state of Rhode Island, and I hate seeing these things. And it's always a bad story when it involves the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. But they are alleged to have picked up the wrong child from an elementary school.
Oh, stop.
In Providence on Tuesday.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
The child that was supposed to be picked up was left behind, but school district officials say the student was safe and supervised by an adult at all times. DCYF says it's aware of the incident and it's under review. So does that mean they take one kid and, no, you're supposed to come with us? I wonder what the kid was saying. No, I'm not supposed to go with you. I'm waiting for another bus. I'm waiting for my parents. And so they just took the wrong child.
I know.
Allegedly. I'm
That's-
like, oh, this is awful.
Yeah, that's not good.
They're so short-staffed. DCYF.
Right.
I mean, in the field of social work, it doesn't get much harder than that, and there's just not enough staff.
Right.
It's unfortunate that happened. Oh boy. Yeah. You hope it was just an innocent oversight. That's just,
You hope so.
but pretty traumatic
hope
for the
so.
kid who
Well,
thought he was
yeah.
going in, and then
Right.
also now you've got a kid who is vulnerable that was not appropriately picked up and could have been put into a bad situation. I mean,
Right.
just from that time delay. Oh, yuck.
All right. So, does this affect your kids, Melissa? Massachusetts Attorney General Andrea Campbell is leading a 20-state effort to fight the youth vaping epidemic. The attorneys general of the states have filed a brief with the U.S. Supreme Court supporting a decision by the Food and Drug Administration to ban some flavored vapes. A vaping distribution company challenged the FDA ban, and it was overturned by federal appeals court. The attorneys general, led by Campbell, are urging the U.S. Supreme Court to reverse the appeals court decision. Do your daughters tell you about that? How many kids are vaping?
It is ridiculous.
It's just in school,
Yes.
in class,
always,
in the bathrooms.
always, everywhere.
It's just
Everywhere.
is
I mean, you even sign contracts as a student athlete that if you're
Says
caught
you won't.
vaping, you're kicked off the team.
yeah.
And of course, the side scutter is like
No
half
one
the
checks.
kids on the team are.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. The kids don't even realize because of all the flavors that are available, and they don't even realize, I think, in some ways that this is an addictive nicotine product, and
all that stuff goes into your lungs.
it does, but they don't get it because they don't feel it's totally different than, at least when you smoked a cigarette,
You choked a little bit.
it didn't really taste all that great.
Yeah.
Right. And you sort of like, you had to really keep trying
Right.
before you really liked it. I don't think that's the case. I've never tried vaping, but I don't think that's the case with it.
I'm more concerned about the medical side effects of what vaping does, and apparently it I don't know. I'm not a doctor, and I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn, so I don't know. But I've read that it like puts holes in your lungs, little tiny microscopic holes,
Right.
which then don't allow the oxygen to absorb into your bloodstream correctly
Yeah.
or as efficiently as it once did. So you wonder how many kids are going to get emphysema from
Years from now.
Right.
from doing this.
Right.
And it's now worse than cigarette smoking was.
But don't you think there's a heavy responsibility on parents to know what your kid's doing?
Right.
Right.
And I
so
think but I
They
think
can
the
hide it so
parents
well.
don't know.
the parents don't know, but I don't know how
I think
I-
the parents think, oh, well, they're not smoking cigarettes.
I
so
would
they'll just
be-
let them
So it's
vape.
good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
shocked
just water
to
vapor.
ever find out that my kids were vaping, because they are sort of like, they're the kind of kids that if you look at them and say, you're lying, they would just erupt in tears. Like they're very,
Oh, you've done a very good job.
I have. That's called like the weight of Catholicism
I was
right
going to say
there.
it was Catholic guilt in
God
my
is
house. That's what
watching.
that was.
But I just think there are parents that I know of that are not aware that their kid's doing
Right.
it.
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
but it goes also with, they're also not aware of what their kid's doing on social media. They're also not aware of the kind of behaviors that so it's just that whole like, my kid would never philosophy.
Right,
Those
right.
parents that are aloof and don't really challenge their kid to say, look me in the eye. Are you that kid?
Right.
Are you a jerk? Are you the one that's doing it? You have to challenge your kids like that to make them uncomfortable. Yeah. So I just feel like what you're saying is these kids are going to wake up 20 years from now and have regret
Oh yeah, and have
because
there's
they
a
don't
problem.
know. They're young.
Yeah.
You are
Then
still
they're
a
going to have
parent. You're a
but then they're
parent
going to have
until
medical costs that they're going to want to get covered by somebody else because they don't have jobs that provide the
Right.
correct medical insurance, and then of course it just spirals from there.
Well, look at the people from the 50s and 40s that were smoking cigarettes. Why?
Yeah.
Well, their doctor was smoking, so
Right.
there was no warnings on anything. So everything's fine. So
I love Dr. Yazbek. He was my pediatrician, but I can remember going in there for my annual checkups at young ages, and he had the pipe hanging out of his mouth.
ah, there you go.
Oh, see.
And I don't know if it was anything in it. He may not have even actually have been smoking it. He just
Yeah.
had it
He
in
just
his
had it
mouth,
mouth.
and I was like, I just remember Dr.
Oh, that's
Yazbek.
funny.
Ugh.
Time for a second message, Tim, from Navigant Credit Union, please.
So I teased it a little bit ago, Joe, and I'm jumping ahead. I'm jumping the gun here, so my retail team will hate me for this. But starting effective on September 10th, we are changing our fee structures at the credit union, and we're one of the first in the state, I think, to do it. You've probably heard there's been a big push about the President Biden looks at all bank fees as junk fees, which is 100% not true. Our members tend to use our overdraft programs in their everyday lives just because things happen, and so it works for them. But what we've done is we've said, you know what, let's make it easier for the customer, let's make it easier for our members, and let's see if we can't either eliminate or reduce some of these fees. So, starting on or about the 10th of September, we used to have this little fee. If you had money in the savings account, and you wanted to transfer it to a checking because you had overdrafted, you'd spent more money than what was in your checking, and we moved money from one account to the other. There was a $3 fee for that. That fee is going to be eliminated. There's going to be no charge for that. There's also going to be, if you have insufficient funds, and there's I think it's a $34 fee, which is what the normal fee is pretty much for every financial institution. We are dropping that fee significantly. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's $14. It's going down. That maybe it's 20, but it's going way down. And my point with telling you all this is, we've always said that we were customer focused, and our members are owners, and our owners are our customers are owners, and our owners are our customers. And our customers have been really squeezed by the high cost of everything, including their banking. And so this is our way of trying to help, their financial well-being by letting them continue to have the tool that allows them to manage their finances, yet making it more affordable for them to do. So while we don't want you to overdraft your account, that's bad behavior, right? Using these tools to help you manage your finances is not a good practice. However, we understand that it's life, and we understand that those are situations that you find yourself in. So let's help make that better for you. So our members are going to get an email, if they haven't already gotten one, very soon, explaining all the new fees, with all the new fee structure. Try to remember to bring that in next week. And there'll be a news release going out on the 10th to talk about it as well. So, we're just trying to do our part to make everybody's lives out there who are our members a little bit easier.
I don't think I've ever asked you this question, but I'll ask it in case listeners are thinking the same thing. So I am a customer of Navigant.
Yep.
Just said went and bought a car this weekend. Gonna finance it. Is there any member discount option on an interest rate? Like if I'm a member of your bank,
Yep.
some perk advantage for me moving my loan that I just signed up with
Yep.
through the auto dealership, which you're locked in for 3 months before you can transfer it to
Right.
your own. Because I didn't love my rate.
Yep.
I had planned to call you in January.
Yeah.
I already marked it on my calendar to
Yep.
say, hey, I'm seeing this rate over at AAA, or I'm seeing this rate over
Yep.
here, but I would rather do all my business with you because I'm a customer there already. Can you match or give me a discount because I've been a loyal customer?
So the reality of the situation is we like to think that our rates are as competitive as everybody else's to begin with.
Right.
So there's no half a point off for being a member, because then you would just have a lower rate. That's what you do. Otherwise, everybody would get the same discount, so it would be a lower
But
rate.
I want a perk. I want
I know you want a
I want a
perk.
BJ's membership perk.
So that's interesting. We have actually had some discussions about how to do perks.
I want
on our
Kohl's cash
programs.
on my Navigant account.
Well, you know what? Keep wishing that, because that could be a reality.
Well, if you need me to be your target survey audience, I could
gotcha.
give you a few other examples.
You want a
Right.
Kohl-
But I
you
think
want a
if
Target
you're in a
gift
spot
card for
like, we
$20?
have a HELOC with Navigant,
Yep.
so we already have like one loan. We've got a kid that's going to be going to college soon. We have all of our accounts set up with you. I feel like
Right.
there should be a buy two get one free type model, or at least which is unrealistic. And I
Right.
get what you're saying, because you are very competitive, and you probably will have the rate that we're looking for, and the convenience of all of our money being managed in one spot.
Right.
But I would love on a customer service side to see like a half point off or a point off.
Yep.
So,
So,
food for thought.
On occasion, we will do that whenever we're opening new markets. We tend to do that in the new markets for sure, as a tool to kind of attract new members. And I'd like to think that if you ever have an issue servicing or anything like that, that we're going to be there when you need to. I always say this about Amica. Amica is not the cheapest insurance company around, but I will tell you it's the best insurance company around, because I've had, unfortunately, my share of fender benders and things that have happened, and without fail, they will provide. I'm giving an unsolicited thing to Amica, but pay the claim, come out and adjust it quickly. Customer service is second to none. I want to be more like Amica whenever we can. So I would say to you that keep your eyes peeled for the perk programs. I talked about that credit card earlier. We're looking at in the next year or two to be making some significant changes to our credit card program, where those kind of point. We have a credit card now that gives you cash back, right? It gives you points. But we want to enhance that program. So within the next year or two, you'll see some stuff come out from us for that.
I like it.
And who knows? We could end up with those perks along the way. I get companies used to call me all the time, say, "Hey, you should give a cruise away when you give a car loan."
Wow.
I'm like, why would I want to send somebody on a trip when they just bought a car? Wouldn't you want to send them in the car? Why don't I
Give me
give
a
them
gas card.
Right, give a gas
Just
card.
go back to free toasters, okay?
I almost did that once as a fun
joke?
throwback promotion.
Yeah.
Like buy a couple hundred toasters and then say, hey, we're going to give you this great toaster when you open a new account.
I think once
awesome.
you've dealt with dealerships, this person's
Right.
perspective was probably like, I need to just get out of reality for a little while and escape. I think that was
Right.
probably the headspace of that person.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You can, though. We do suggest if you're going to finance a car through a dealer, finance it through the dealer. Sometimes that financing will actually be through us.
Yeah.
But if it's not, and you still think the rate's too high, then
was
within
way
3
too
months,
high,
in 3
and-
months, just
yeah.
turn around and refinance it through us.
All right, break time here on Coffee and more coming up. Stick around.
I love our Rhode Island shoreline, but our location makes us vulnerable to hurricanes and tropical storms. It's important to be prepared as best we can before the storm hits. You can help by knowing your risks, getting flood insurance, and being familiar with your evacuation route. Let's all do our part to be hurricane strong. The steps we take today can help minimize damage tomorrow. Learn more at riema.ri.gov.
Brought to you by Governor Dan McKee and the Rhode Island Broadcasters Association.
And now, to benefit the 2024 Autumn Fest celebration, it's Autumn Fest Comedy Night.
How do omelets get into school? They have to pass an exam.
Well, I can see we're going to have to bring the professionals in on this one. And folks, if you want to see true professional local comedians for a good cause, then come to the Autumn Fest Comedy Fundraiser, Friday, September 6th at the Woonsocket Elks Hall, 380 Social Street, Woonsocket. This is an 18-plus event. Doors open at 5 and the show starts at 6. Light snacks will be available along with a cash bar and lots of yucks. There'll be raffles, silent auctions, and door prizes. Tickets to the Autumn Fest Comedy Fundraiser are $30 per person. Purchase tickets online at this website, funny4funds.com. Bugged Out Barbecue will have their food truck in the parking lot starting at 5 p.m. for your edification. Come on out to the Autumn Fest Comedy Fundraiser, Friday night, September 6th at the Woonsocket Elks Hall, 380 Social Street, Woonsocket. Doors open at 5, and the food starts at 5, too.
All right, it's Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan. Tim Draper's here. Melissa Smith is here. And Melissa, we have the story. Health experts claim chair yoga is just not for seniors. Did you have is there a
Yeah.
chair yoga thing going on at St. Antoine?
We
Good.
do.
They say exercising in a seated position helps people of all ages.
It helps people who have a bummed ankle.
Who have flexibility
I'm doing
issues.
it right now.
I get stuff on Facebook all the time that says chair yoga for men over 40.
It's true. I think they're
Yeah.
really pushing the marketing for it because like anybody who works in an office atmosphere
That's it. Yep.
and you're stuck at your computer or your phone all day, there's ways that you can still move your body. And it's
But-
more about meditation. It's more about like breathing through stress and it's pretty cool.
And they say, researchers say just 15 minutes of chair yoga a day can help combat poor posture and repetitive stress injuries, including carpal tunnel syndrome.
I just don't want to pay for it on an app on my phone, but I
You
want
don't have
somebody
to.
to do it for me.
No, go to YouTube. You watch someone on
Yeah, we
YouTube a
could
few
do it.
times, you know what to do.
All right.
So there's one study of women that are 65 and over shows that chair yoga lessens the likelihood that knee osteoarthritis will progress to a disability that makes people immobile.
Yep.
So that's a good thing.
It's true.
So all right.
All true.
All right, good. So Hormel, you know the hash
people?
chili
Oh,
people.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, they're
Corned
getting
beef hash in a can.
they're
Love
getting
it.
together with General Mills, and we're creating a new cereal.
Oh, boy.
God.
Hash.
The company announced this week it plans to sell cinnamon toast crunch bacon.
Oh,
Hey,
they're
this-
going sweet and
This
savory.
sounds
You know?
great.
Yeah. Oh,
Throw a little
Lord.
bacon in there, nothing could be bad.
Now, it starts on September 16th. The product will combine the cinnamon coating from Cinnamon's Toast Crunch with Hormel's Black Label Bacon. You can get them at select Walmart stores and
mean,
Kroger,
The
but
problem
there are
is
no
the
Krogers
carbs in
around
that are
here.
still way too high.
I mean, cereal
Even though
is
you
just
throw the
not
meat,
good
even
for
throw your
you.
meat in there, it's not really.
It's not good for you. But I will say there's donuts with bacon on it now. You've
Oh,
got
yeah.
like there's
Yum,
I
yum.
mean everything's
It's
got
like a
bacon.
good pizza with bacon on it.
Oh, that's good too.
That is good. That is good.
All right, another health study. Ozempic is not linked to increased rates of depression or suicide. I had not heard this.
I just heard that last
Did you?
week. So now they're saying it's not.
It's not. Yes. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania studied data from over 3,000 people who use the popular diabetes and weight loss drug found in Ozempic and also another drug and who did not have any major mental health conditions. The study found less than 1% reported suicidal thoughts or behavior during their treatment.
Are they separating themselves with the depression is caused by the med? And
Well,
they're
that's what
trying
they
to say
thought.
it's not
It's
caused
not
by the
caused
med.
by
It
the
was
med.
already existing probably before the med.
Yes.
I have to agree with that because I unfortunately know a lot of people who are diabetics and I know a lot of people who are on Ozempic. And I know a lot of people that are on Ozempic just for weight loss that aren't diabetics. And I think that unfortunately, if you're a diabetic, you generally do face emotions and feelings of depression and suicidal thoughts. And then I think also the people who are on Ozempic, not because they're diabetic, but because they want to do really aggressive weight loss techniques, they already had built-in depression because of those self-image issues. So I knew when I heard the story break last week, I was like, I don't think it's caused by the med. It
Right,
could be.
right.
It could be messing with your hormones.
Not too bad.
Is Ozempic really just masking something? I mean, once you take it and once you start losing
You're
weight,
locked in. You're on it. You can't come off that.
Otherwise, you're going to balloon back up, right?
You will, but yeah, there's a lot of other health impacts. Like there's a lot of risk to going on it if you're not a diabetic, because it's
Yeah.
going to impact your heart rate. It's going to impact a lot of things. The people that I know that are on it for weight loss, in my opinion, are, yes, they've lost significant weight in a very rapid pace. They're very fearful of coming off it. Not that they should, anyways. They're advised once you're on
And
it
then
to
be
stay on
real
it.
hungry again.
But they're below average weight now, and it's
too
and
low, huh?
It's too low. I just think all of that is tied to mental health, because that's your self-image. You're obsessed. You're obsessed with being a certain number on the scale and fitting into a societal ideal, and it's unfortunate. But those that are diabetics that are on it, there's a lot of side effects that come just with that. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
gastro issues, and there's a lot of warnings with any weight loss med. It's just, I think this has been Hollywoodized.
Yeah.
Yes.
This brand. So
Well, we could keep going.
Yeah,
but we
could.
gotta end. So
No.
the show's come to an end. We thank you for listening as always, and Melissa Smith, thanks for coming in.
thank you for having me. We'll see you next week, I believe.
very
What's
good.
next week? We're in September, which is crazy.
It'll be the 10th next week.
10th, I will see you
sorry,
next week.
The 11th next
The
week.
11th, I will see you on the
September
11th.
11th next week. That's right. Tim Draper, thanks for coming in.
Joe, thanks for having me, and everybody out there, enjoy this God-given last of summer's day.
Very good. Now, this is Joe Callahan. Have a wonderful day as well, and stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew. Do you remember is coming your way at 9:30 here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. The Cranston man charged with drunk driving with a child in his vehicle appeared in court yesterday. 22-year-old Alan Chisholm was given a $50,000 surety bail when was ordered to pretrial services to monitor substance abuse and mental health. He must also surrender his firearms. Rhode Island State Police arrested Chisholm after the Sunday night crash on Interstate 95 in Pawtucket that came. The troopers allege he failed a field sobriety test